It's a science fiction staple. A courageous pilgrim is strolling through the forested areas when they discover an old life form not seen for many years. Dinosaurs are decision for such appearances, however pterosaurs and other ancient critters do similarly also. In content and in movie form, they figure out how to persevere in some confined pocket where annihilation saved them. Be that as it may, such situations are not confined to the domain of imagination. In July of 1943, while going through eastern China, Ranger Service official Zhan Wang heard an enticing talk. In the town of Mudao, the head of Xi'an Agriculture High School let him know there grew a tree that nobody could recognize. That was sufficient for Zhan. He changed his movement course across Hubei province to discover the riddle tree, and, sufficiently sure, he discovered it. With a couple of clips, Zhan gathered a few branches and cones as per standard herbal convention and was on his way. When he got an opportunity to completely look at his example, however, Zhan didn't know what the tree was. The plant's life systems looked like that of the Chinese bog cypress, a tree known for a considerable length of time, yet little subtleties of the leaves, branches, and cones were all off base. Not having any desire to put it all on the line, Zhan arranged the tree as Glyptostrobus pensilis, the question mark and update that the animal groups probably won't be the marsh cypress, all things considered. The following summer botanist Zheng Lun Wu was glancing through the herbarium assortments at the National Central University at Chongqing when Zhan's riddle cypress got his attention. It looked like something new. This started a whirlwind of examination and conversation among China's botanists and dendrologists that at last come to an alarming end result. The tree was not new to science. Amazingly, it was a living type of metasequoia, the daybreak redwood, that had been named from fossils only a couple of years prior. Some considered metasequoia a living fossil. Regardless of whether the term fits or not relies upon your opinion of how much the tree has changed in the last 5 million years or somewhere in the vicinity. Be that as it may, another term certainly applies to revelations like this. Metasequoia is a lazarus taxon. For the individuals who are minimal precarious on their New Testament stories, Lazarus is the kindred that Jesus is said to have raised from the dead. And keeping in mind that the wonder of finding the metasequoia was one of science, as opposed to religion, scientists Carl Flesser and David Jablonski authored the term Lazarus taxon for creatures that return after their assumed eradication. There are a lot of different instances of Lazarus taxa. The most popular is the coelacanth, an old type of fish thought to have become terminated more than 66 million years back just to turn up in a South African fish advertise. A variety of insect initially found in Golden, a maternity specialist amphibian, and an entire gathering of marine spineless creatures called monoplacophorans fit the bill, as well, however the term isn't confined to living species. Lazarus taxon was initially authored for creatures, from a solitary animal categories up to a whole gathering, that appear to vanish during one of Earth's enormous 5 mass terminations just to spring up again in the fossil record. That is on the grounds that fossilization lows appear to quickly follow mass eradications wherein, for some explanation, not the same number of living beings wind up secured stone. Also, applied all the more generally to the fossil record, the broad rundown of Lazarus taxa incorporates an ancestry of weasel-like proto-mammals called diademodontids that return in the Triassic stone of South Africa after a non-appearance of 21 million years, and a large number of odd spineless creatures that were thought to have become terminated by 501 million years prior before turning up in rocks 488 to 472 million years of age. So for what reason do a few animals appear to squint out of the fossil record just to be restored? There's more than one explanation. The most straightforward is that the fossil record isn't just inadequate, however not entirely examined. There are fossil-bearing layers that still can't seem to feel the boots of inquisitive scientists, and there are constantly critical examples that get disregarded. Also that perceiving living Lazarus taxa is an interdisciplinary exertion that requires scientists and field scholars to know about what the other gathering is doing. There might be living species that consider Lazarus taxa yet haven't been perceived as such right now. At that point there's simply the idea of the fossil record. An animal categories or ancestry may go wiped out in a given zone yet persevere somewhere else. This geographic issue might be the reason we don't have a decent fossil record for the living coelacanth, for instance. The fish may have clung to presence in remote ocean frequents that either didn't fossilize or have not been found at this point. What's more, on account of Lazarus taxa that spring up after mass termination, it might be that populaces briefly fell too low to even think about allowing for a decent possibility of fossilization. The fossil record is an awesome window to see antiquated life, however we should know about the breaks and smears while looking into ancient times.